So the Cooper's Pen incident has sparked renewed debate about land ownership, squatting, and the rights of people occupying disputed properties. Calicia Findlay, attorney at law with specialization in land matters, she joins us to explain what the law says about land settlements, adverse possession, and the rights of both landowners and occupants. Good morning. Welcome
Good morning,
to Smile. How are you?
I'm good, thanks. Thanks for having me.
I had this discussion about me many years ago, and I was told that even though I was paying me property tax, somebody could get the land. Anyway, what does the law say about squatting?
The law says squatting at the outset is illegal. It's trespassing. But if you squat for at least 12 years on privately owned property, 60 years government land, if it's open, if it's undisturbed, if it's quiet, peaceful, nobody's trying to take you off, if you satisfy all of those criteria, you can claim it. You can make an application for adverse possession.
12 years, you said?
12 years for privately owned property, but if it's government property, government didn't make a mistake, 60
So even if the man who owned the property paying the property tax for the 12 years, but somebody lived there for 12 years, is still that person can?
Correct. And my Jamaican people, yes, you should pay your property taxes, but by itself, it's not enough. Adverse possession. That is the key term, possession. It's who has physical control, physical possession of the land. So, I mean, I would love if you start paying my property taxes. I need some expenses that I need to get rid of. But if I'm still living at my house and you start paying my property taxes, you can't take it from me. So paying property taxes by itself is not enough.
But Calicia, it's my land and the law says I must pay the property tax.
It does.
I pay the property tax. Nobody don't call me and say, well, I moved to live in your land. And then I go down from my land and a man say, I've been here 12 years.
Yes, Neville. It is unfortunate for some, but the law also says as a property owner, you have a continuous obligation. You have to exercise a continuous right over your property. So you can't just get title, lock up your title, go about your business and leave it there. Yes, let's say you're in New York, wherever you are, you're paying your property taxes. That's not enough. You have to exercise physical control of the property.
What does that mean?
So you live there,
okay.
You bush it, you pay a man to bush it, you have a caretaker there, you put your animals out there, but you have to have some physical connection with the property.
What went on in Cooper's Pen?
Patriotic comrades, this is very self-explanatory. You have to exercise physical possession over your property. And once you do all of that, nobody can come running upon your property because a lot of Duns labor rank supporters, them not understand the foundation of English law. Adverse possession is a English law. We are under English law. Zin? So what you know? When you have a law that is built on land possession, and the said law was crafted and created by a colonizer, someone who is famous for going around the world and capturing the land of a whole country, then these colonizers will be big on land possession. Case in point, the English came to America, saw the Indians, took possession of the land from the Indians, even though the Indians were the rightful owners of the land of America. So they end up dispossess the Indians. So now America is in the possession of the colonizer. So this is why English law, British law is big on whosoever possesses the property owns the property. In the case of adverse possession, after 12 years undisturbed, the legal owner lose in property. That's all I need to understand. Argument done. Case in point, a real life example from my own experience. I live beside a property that was owned by my uncle. Now my uncle sell the land to these people. These people no bill upon the property now. Zin? But every year they can check upon them property. Round December time, every year they can check panny to make sure say nobody na squat panny. Zin?
There, but you have to have some physical connection with the property.
What went on in Cooper's Pen?
So I am not involved in that matter. Let me say that at the outset. But from what I've gathered, this matter has been ongoing for maybe almost 20 years. So, as I said before, when you want to claim title by adverse possession, it has to be open, quiet, undisturbed. It seems, and anyone, correct me if I'm wrong, it seems their possession may have been disturbed. So I gather, let's say some of them may have been there for 20 years. During the 20 years, their possession seems to have been disturbed.
What does that mean?
The property owners seem to have been actively trying to get them off the property.
Okay.
So they were not undisturbed. I could be wrong, but that's just based on what I've read so far about the matter.
So if the property owners try to get me off their land and I don't come off, and they come and them lick down my house because they were trying to get me off, the property owners didn't do anything wrong?
It depends on when they did it. So if you want to evict someone from your property, you have to go through the process. You serve them with a notice, court gives you an order, say, all right, Neville, you have to come off my property within 30 days. If Neville doesn't come off my property within 30 days, I then have to go back to court to make an application for the bailiff to come. So if you do all of that, then it's legal. But let us say you have someone on your property and they're just there, don't go through the due process, you just call in a bailiff to take them off, then that is incorrect. But if you go through the steps, then yes.
Patriotic comrades, me like how she explain the legal process. Zane? So you have to serve them with a notice from the court giving the residents 30-day notice to leave and vacate the property. Zane? And if they don't leave, the second process, you have to go back to the court to make an application for a bailiff to come and remove them. Zane, those are the two legal processes where you have to follow. However, the residents in Cooper's Pen I say something to the contrary. The residents them I say, how you never give a notice? And somebody who was there supervising or was a part of the demolition tell the residents them say in 2010 we go on a notice for left and on a black road and protest. So this time we not going on a notice. So you can clearly see say not serving a notice a second time around is illegal. And why it is illegal? Because every notice we get from the court expires after 6 years. And we attack from 2010. So that notice would have been expired in 2016. Now at 2026. 10 years after the expired due date. A decade. So by all legal procedures, this seems to be an illegal and lawful demolition will take place of the residents in Cooper's Pen, because you have to respect the human rights of the so-called squatters who are demonized as criminals. Their human rights has to be respected. The owner have a legal right to him property, and the people them will live on him property, cause yes, they say squatting is illegal, but they have human rights that must be respected. So this was a big blunder by not serving them a second notice. But notice what took place after. Them serve the other houses them where they left to get bulldoze. Them the house they get notice. But them the house they will get bulldoze never get no notice.
You said you're not a part of this, and I'm happy you're not a part of this. But as far as you know, those processes went on? Or?
It seems so. It seems so. Yes, I've seen some of the filings in court, and
so
it seems so.
So the owner did say, I want my land, I come in for my land, you don't move. The owner come back and say, I want my land, you don't move. The owner come back and say, I'm going to lick down your house if you don't move, and you didn't move, and I lick down the house.
Yes, it seems so. I can't speak with sufficient certainty.
Yeah.
Like I said, I'm not a party.
Right.
But yes, it seems so.
And if that is so, let's say that is so, the owner don't do anything wrong then?
If the owner followed the court process.
Okay, all right.
It is unfortunate,
Yeah.
but...
So again, if that is so, does the squatter have any rights left in all of this?
They may not. But at the heart of it, you see, Neville, it is sad. It is very sad. If the property owner was correct, they perhaps can sue, you know, their buildings were demolished, but I don't know if they may be able to be successful, because if there's a valid court order, if the court said yes, the structures can be demolished, then they may not have much recourse.
All right, so if the court said yes, I own the land, and the court said yes, I can go to Kyle's place and lick it down, would Kyle have known that?
He should have known, because when you are applying for the bailiff, you would get sufficient notice.
So if Kyle didn't know that, it would still be illegal.
If he did not know that?
If the court never said, well, the gentleman said, come off I'm land 3-4 times, no, you're not coming off, so we are going to come and knock it over. If he didn't know that, the person who's living there...
That's a tricky question, because if he were served, you know, he could say, well, I didn't see the notice, but if I can prove that I put up the notice on his door, whether he saw it or not, it would still be legal.
Patriotic comrades, Based on my interpretation, the burden of proof now falls on the owner to show and prove that they did put a notice order on everyone's door in Cooper's Pen. So even if the residents them a say them never see no notice order, it doesn't matter, because as long as the owner can show and prove via video evidence, say yes, me put notice order upon everybody door, then whatever the residents are say as it relates to them not seeing a notice or them not receiving a notice, the notice where them a claim say they not get is still valid and still legal, as long as the owner can show proof on video, say yes, this is me, staple the notice by everybody door. Simple as that. So where is the video evidence of the owner serving them a second notice? Because a notice for 2010 is not a blank check where you can fill out 10 years after the expired due date. And I'm no legal expert. This is not legal advice. This is just my common sense opinion. Because it seems too easy for everybody trample upon you because you're poor.
Okay. Would it be because a number of people lived on the land?
Yes.
Would it be that everybody get the notice, or you just go to one person and say, well, Mr. Bill, say, come up by land, or
it would be, best course of action would be for everyone to get the notice. Would be.
So you're saying if the owner did what he was supposed to do, him never did nothing wrong. But if he didn't go through the processes that you said,
then it would be incorrect.
Then they I almost said the owners, but the squatters could sue him.
Oh, certainly, certainly. And I just want to touch on something. It is really unfortunate. And this has happened before. It's going to happen again. At this point, squatting is a part of our culture. And I think what we need to do, especially those in power, the legislator, we need some serious legislative enactment. We need some changes, because this is going to keep happening. The unfortunate reality is that many persons cannot and simply will never be able to buy property. People think squatters are criminals. The vast majority of them are just honest, hardworking people.
Let me go back to Kyle's house though. So I'm his uncle, and I wrote a little letter to him and said, Kyle, I'm going foreign, I'll leave this land for you. That's all I do.
Yes.
I just write a little letter.
Yes.
No lawyer, no stamp it, or I don't go no government. I write a letter. He can prove, say, no man, see my uncle, I can prove that is my uncle one, and he gave it to me. What kind of powers him have?
So he has his letter. If a squatter goes there and has been there for 12 years, and Kyle now comes with his letter, Kyle out of luck. Yes. What trumps it is possession. And it happens all the time.
Hold on, man, stop again. What do you mean him out of luck? It's my family, it's my land, and I gave it to him.
He did not exercise his right within the time. The law says if someone occupies your property for at least 12 years, they have extinguished your right to the property.
Going the other way around. I'm going the other way around. If he's living there for the 12 years. If he's living there,
fine. No problem.
And he just has the letter, and then somebody come and say this letter don't prove nothing.
If the letter really doesn't prove anything, but if he's living there for 12 years, fine, no problem. He can then take the formal steps to apply for title. If he's living there, no problem. But if all he has is the letter, he's never taken up possession, then Kyle in trouble.
And knowing Kyle, I'm probably going to be in
Kyle, you need to hurry up and
Kyle in problem. What advice, if any, you would give to these people who
my heart goes out to them. I think I saw a story with a lady with a 3-day-old baby. You know, it is hard. Everybody wants to lay their head somewhere at night safe. You want your family to be comfortable. And I'm not, by no means, I am not condoning squatting. But if you need to take up possession of a property, please don't build anything too permanent, too expensive. You run the risk of losing your money. And please seek independent legal advice. Yeah.
Isn't it unfair, though, to the owner who said, I go to these people every day for 40 years and say, come off the land, and they didn't come off. I demolished the place and everybody want to kill the owner. But you know, it's his land. Him say, come off, you didn't come off. It's not unfair that it's him getting all of the licks.
It may be, and I hope I won't get in trouble for saying this, but in law, fair is just another F word. You know, what is fair to me may not be fair to you, you know?
That's interesting.
Yeah, because at the end of the day, we have these poor people who are suffering. They're literally out on the street.
But basically, they don't have a leg to stand on.
It doesn't seem so. I hope so, you know. My heart goes out to them.
Interesting. Well explained, by the way.
Thank you.
So very much
Thank
for
you.
explaining all of that. Poor Kyle.
Kyle, you need to hurry up and act.
Yeah. I'm in trouble. Thanks again for coming.
Thanks, Never. Thanks for having me.
God bless you. Calicia Finlay, attorney at law with specialization in land matters. So if you have any issues, get her involved.
So, patriotic comrades, we just heard from the first attorney. Now let's go over to the second attorney.
You know, many years ago, I had a lot of land that I didn't take care of, but I paid the land tax every single year. So I was talking to a professional about that, and him said, Mr. Bill, even though you are paying it, it's because, you know, down there clean up and thing, you might go down there one day and somebody's on it and you would have difficulty getting the person off it. And I said, but I pay the tax. Him say, it don't matter. So this morning, we're taking a closer look at that issue, which impacts many communities across Jamaica. Capture land, what else them call them? Squatters.
Yeah.
What exactly does it mean, and what rights do both occupants and landowners have, and how they can verify who legally owns the property? Attorney at law Alexander Shaw is with us. Morning, sir. Welcome to Smile.
Morning, Alexander.
So with my issue, which is a true story, and I paid every single year, I pay my income, not the land tax. And then somebody was telling me, say, it don't matter, because you're not down there to clean up the place and thing. If somebody
Yes, because you have a right, you have a duty. You know, because owning land or having land is not enough, because the starting point is that you don't really own land.
Well, that means I paid.
Land belongs to the government, so the government conveys an interest to you and say, listen, Neville, take care of the land and pay your taxes. But you have been only doing one thing, which is paying your taxes. That is not enough.
But
so
I
if somebody
bought the land, I paid for it, and I'm paying my property tax. What else I need to do to tell everybody?
Well, you need to possess it, because we gave, so government is saying, you know, we gave you the land to possess it, take care of it, be a good steward and ensure that there is nothing, it's not becoming a nuisance to society. So if somebody else goes in and is taking care of the property, then
and chop it
by all
down nice
means,
and build up something.
Yes,
I can't go on a man tell me I must move from him gate when it's my land.
Well, and what you have become is a title or a paper owner. So the title is in your name, but you're not really possessing the land. And so the squatter now has a right through the doctrine of what we call adverse possession.
Explain that one.
No, adverse possession is pretty much where a squatter or an individual goes, illegally occupies land, and after certain years, in Jamaica 12 years, you can claim the property, but you must actually possess it and pay taxes. So you paying taxes is not enough. This person is actually paying taxes, excluding the world. What do I mean by that? So maybe he or she run a fence around the property, you know, and it doesn't matter who comes, you are saying it belongs to me. So you as the rightful owner may very well go there and give notice and say, listen, get off my place. I say, listen man, go on with your business. Because not even the notice is sufficient. You need to ensure that you institute legal proceedings to recover the premises.
So, patriotic comrades, to add a little additional context towards the conversation, you see, what this attorney just says is very important. You see, because a lot of people are ignorant to the fact of where the law really say, and then just operate off of feelings and emotions and labor wrong talking points, and the PM come out and fear monger them and put the fear of God in them. Say, oh, your land not safe, squatters I can't take your land. So you have to see all squatters as criminals, and you have to hate them and you have to demonize them, not knowing say they are being manipulated, because you don't know the law. People can't just go and take away your land like that. You understand? But this attorney excellently explained the point.
Let me ask you this though, right? I would kind of taking it for granted that people watching understands what the legal definition is of capture land. Is it that same thing that you're talking about?
Same thing.
Adverse possession.
Same thing. Capture land. But there is a little difference with respect to privately owned land and government land.
Give us the difference.
So for private property, like your property, never, 12 years would be considered sufficient to, mature in a claim in adverse possession, meaning after 12 years, you can very well claim the land to be yours. But if we're talking about government-owned land here, you have to wait until 60 years. 60 years, because guess what? We know government is not so, efficient. Or put another way, government doesn't have the time to be policing, land. And so you have to give them enough time until they realize. But for you, you have a duty as owner to ensure that you keep your property in good condition.
Yeah. Final question on my story. What if the person who took over the land, built upon it, cleaning it up, put them fence around it, me paying property tax, but he or she is not, is still them one?
Well, the truth is, it's because it depends on the time. And so what will happen is that you'll have to go to court, because paying taxes is very important, but paying taxes on either side, whether you or the squatter, that is not enough. And if it is that I am actually taking good care of the property, I am, and I am refuting your interest, because many times you have people paying taxes because they hear that, you can pay tax and just get the place. That is not the case. So in that particular situation, the court may very well have to determine whether or not you are still the owner, or whether the ownership has passed to this
but
person.
Mr. Shaw, I buy the land, I have the title, I pay in property tax, and I go down there and a man on my land who is not paying property tax, and because him on the land for 12 years, him can't tell me to go on my yard?
Well, and it's, you see, English law is about possessing land. And so it is really the person who is in possession with other things. So because we have a lot of land in Jamaica where, it has become a nuisance, harboring criminals, wild animals, simply because people buy land and just have the land sitting idly. And so the law really does not want that to happen. And so it's really by virtue of that why we have this doctrine of adverse possession. So it's really unfortunate. And then you have some people some owners who wait until somebody builds up something nicely, and then they just come in and say, listen, get off. And that too now is unjust enrichment. But on either side though, there's going to be a problem, because I have my land and I'm paying the taxes, and then you just come take over. But which is why would you wait until 12 years though? Because 12 years time means that you're really, abandoning your interest,
But Mr. Shaw, you have a variety of reasons. You have persons watching us right now from a diaspora, family members who have been ill and have been in the hospital for a total of 12 years or longer. And for that reason, they're not able to come back here to Jamaica, but they have been paying the property tax, let's say. And this person who has now taken over this land and has built on it as well, let's say they're paying the property tax as well. And we go to court. Who stands to win? If I can show that I have legitimate reasons why I have not been able to come and occupy my land, and I have been paying, land taxes, etc., but this person is now occupying my space, building on it, and paying the taxes, who wins inside the courthouse?
Well, the truth is the person who is actually in possession. And if that person is excluding, so a number of factors will be taken into consideration, but I think the most important one is actual possession. In law, we call it animus possidendi, meaning an intention to possess and actual possession.
Patriotic comrades, again, English law is big on possession. Who is in possession of the property? You can't abandon your property and feel like, say, through you have title and you pay taxes, everything good, while ignoring your legal duty, responsibility, and obligation to ensure that you, the title holder, exercise physical possession of said property where you claim ownership over via title. If you fail to do all of that, and you ignore and abandon your property at a nuisance to the community, cause you want debush, you want chop down, because it have be a criminal and thief at night time, and somebody can take possession of the property and start maintain the property on a regular, I cut it down or them a pay if you get it cut down and debush it, and then do that for 12 years consecutively undisturbed. Don't be surprised when you come there after 12 years and you see one permit offense or wall put up and someone is occupying your property that you abandon. So, me love how both of these two attorneys, these two legal experts, clearly break down and articulate the ins and outs of adverse possession. It's not like somebody can just go take your property from you like that, you know. No, I'm not saying go. 12 years is a long time to occupy somebody's property undisturbed, you know. That's a decade and 2 years, you know. A whole heap of time that, you know. And you not can check on your property within 12 years. You abandon your property. You neglect your obligations and duties and responsibility to maintain your property. And sure say you are in physical possession of your property. You forfeit every right what you have to the property after 12 years.
Well, the truth is the person who is actually in possession. And if that person is excluding, so a number of factors will be taken into consideration. But I think the most important one is actual possession. In law, we call it animus possidendi, meaning an intention to possess and actual possession. So,
yeah, no, but Mr. Shaw, so yeah, my producer just said exactly what I was going to say. The squatter win. You said possession, I own it. In other words, I own my car.
yes.
So if I'm not in the car and you drive my car, it's not your own, it's still mine.
And which is why how I started is that you don't really own land.
So the government, you're saying, who owns it, right?
Yes, man.
So hold on, so you
what
have
you have, you know, what you have in the
so you have a
property.
You have a piece of land, right?
Mm-hmm.
You own a piece of land.
Yes.
And you're not using it. And I come to you and say, Mr. Shah, I want to buy the piece of land. And you say, yeah, man, give me $20 and take it.
Yes.
I pay, sign up everything, get my title. What you mean by I don't own it?
Because what I have is a fee simple interest. I pay a fee, be taxes or whatever, and I get an interest to live there, and I can do whatever I want to do with it. But if I'm not living there and somebody comes and start taking care of the land, excluding me paying taxes, then that person can at some point in time, in Jamaica 12 years, in other jurisdiction 10 years, say, listen man, I want the place, because him don't want it, if never did want it, but you know, he would have been here. Because, and I hear what you said, Debbie, in terms of what if there is some circumstances that cause you not to be able to treat with the premises. But as an owner of property, you have to ensure that your land doesn't become a nuisance to your neighbors. So even if you have to get a worker man to go down there, go keep the place clean and thing. Because if you have been so attuned with what's happening, at some point in time, you will discover that, hey, you have some people who are squat. And from once you realize that, action in court.
Right. All right. Let me ask you this, because I think that the issue of squatting and capture land became very obvious and evident after the passage of Melissa, right?
Yes.
With now the rebuilding of certain parts of Jamaica, is the government within their right to tell certain persons you cannot be rebuilding in these places because we own the space?
Yes, because one of the and when you look at why squatting proliferated in the way it has, it's really because of poor management and regulation, you know, and improper zoning. Because if it is that the regulatory authorities were actually enforcing, you know, certain laws, then you wouldn't really have some of these unplanned developments. So you really can't build anywhere, because some areas are protected, and if it is that you're going to live in somewhere and at some point in time it's going to cost taxpayers, which is what we usually see when people live in gully banks and elsewhere, and it causes some real harm. So the government can do that, because the government is the ultimate owner of land everywhere and anywhere. And so even if you have your nice house and them say, listen man, Neville, I want to run a highway over there, so you know, they can acquire it and just give money and say, listen, you know, you have expended X amount of money for the land,
So why is not the government paying my property tax if it's them, since it's them own it? Why is
well, listen, we give you somewhere, man. Pay for it.
But if you say it's them own it, they're supposed to pay property.
So you own it in a sense, you know.
Yeah, but I understand your point.
Yeah, so we give you that feeling that
I understand
you are the
point.
owner, but hey,
Yeah.
it's not absolute. Take care of it, pay your taxes, and do what you need to do as a good
I think you explained it beautifully. I just think it's wrong.
Facetious.
I think I think it is wrong. But I think it is wrong. To be fair, you can't say me own the land and a man can just come and say, "True, you know, there, may I take it." I
don't agree with it either.
Right.
Yeah.
Let me ask you, I'm so sorry, Nick. I just want to know, what do I do though? I come and I see it happening. What's the first agency that I should be going into?
Just file an action to recover possession. That's important, because if you serve the notice and the man refuse or the woman refuse to leave, problems.
I will end with this. So legally, we are all squatting on government land.
Well, not squatting because we're paying. So it's not illegal. The squatters who are actually in possession, they are illegally occupying land, but you are legally occupying the land.
That's what I said.
But I don't own it.
No, but that's what I just said.
So you want to be a squatter?
No, that's what I said. We are legally. Oh, that's what I said. I never said illegally.
All right, so legally.
I said we are legally squatting on government land.
All right. If you want to call me a squatter.
No, I'm not calling you. I'm asking you because of what you said.
Well, because squatting is illegal. So you
but
can't
we don't
say,
own it 100%.
Well, you don't own land 100%.
Got it. All right. We need to have an ongoing discussion. Thank you so much for being here.
Very well addressed. I don't know if I agree with anything you say, but very well addressed.
We've left here a little bit more
yeah, man. Thank you.
clear. Thank you so much. All right, Attorney at Law Alexander Shaw. After the break, guys, we speak with a few members of the Reggae Girls. They're here.
By the way, me and the squatter can pay tax at the same time.
Well, no, because tax office would not be collecting tax from both.
Oh, the mic wasn't open, so I ask the question again. Legally, me and the squatter can be paying tax at the same.
No, because you shouldn't be paying taxes more than once on the same property.
No, but I don't know that the squatter is paying. I pay. And I don't know the squatter paid. So if the squatter paying and I am paying.
Well, and sometimes you have like tax office will notify you that the taxes has already been paid.
Okay, all right.
So in closing, patriotic comrades, we have two legal expert attorneys both agreeing on the exact same thing, because the law is the law. Property owner have a right and the squatter have a right after living on the property for 12 years undisturbed. Clear cut, straightforward. Now the question where everyone should be asking is, how long the people them a Cooper spend did live and occupy the property undisturbed for before they find out say, oh, this abandoned bush up property have a owner, because the people them occupy the property before even highway cut out or before the highway was built. So once we can clearly find out how long these people been living on the property for undisturbed, now that's a totally different conversation we have now, you know. Because now people will claim their adverse possession rights and compensation have to go take place. So a land where they ended upon, whatever that piece of land value now, current market value, you have got to pay them for that, plus their house where you lick down. So you have got to pay them for land and house. And that's where you reach. So we say the blogging station JLP FM put out an article where I said taxpayers to foot $25 million bill related to Cooper's Pen land battle. So JLP FM blogging station, I say, cause them a be a pure blogger over there. None of them are no real journalists. Taxpayers could be called upon to pay a bill of over $25 million. So it's funny how this blogging station I try highlight and I make a big deal out of it, like, oh, Jamaican taxpayers should be outraged. The PNP rack up $25 million in legal fees fighting for the poor people of Jamaica. I fight for them so they don't get their house bulldozed down. While the whole time Nigel Clark did say the government are going to take taxpayers' money, $15 million of taxpayers' money, give SSL every month, and that was indefinitely. So come September next month, next $15 million of taxpayers' money is going to SSL. So which one more outrageous or which one more egregious? A rich man getting taxpayers' money or taxpayers' money going back to the poor taxpayers of Jamaica? Answer that JLPFM, because we're not trying to make a big deal out of nothing. Patriotic comrades, please leave your thoughts, questions, comments, and concerns in the comment section below. And make a chat. Zane, go and big up on yourself.